please join me here so we can talk and learn what happened next after the film. So, and who are you?
Okay, my name is Kenny Davis.
And what do you do?
And I'm a bass player, actually. So, how am I connected to the film? It's because I played with Art Farmer for almost 10 years. And I think I started playing with Art either 1990 or somewhere like that, and I up until like 90, close to what, 98 or something?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. And I moved to LA to do the Tonight Show.
99 actually.
Yeah, 99, yes, I moved, because I did the Tonight Show in 1999. And so what happened after the movie? So we did a tour, actually, with this particular.
You can tell us some more about what you do now.
Oh, okay, all right, all right. So I went on to do the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and I was bassist for Herbie Hancock for 3 years, and I, you know, on my gigs I always say, you know, I've been in your house more than you thought I've been in your house. Like, oh, that's creepy. You know? But I studied with Ron Carter, and one time Ron came to me after the lesson, said, "Can you read this piece of music?" I read it. Okay. Oh, okay. Here's something harder. Can you read that? Not notes, but I mean not chord changes, but notes. He said, "Okay," and I read it.
Wait. Ron Carter is probably the bassist in the world today.
Yes.
Jazz bassist.
He's the most recorded jazz bassist in history of the right. So a few days later, Ron called me and said, "Hey, Kenny, you want to make some money?" I said, "Yeah." So from that moment on, Ron sent me to, I'm doing jingles. I'm doing Kentucky Fried Chicken, Burger King, Diet Coke. I mean, a plethora of stuff that I've done that you all were listening to. That was me. And then I'm good friends with Bob Crenshaw, who I subbed for him playing with Sonny Rollins. You know, so Bob called me, "Hey, Kenny, want to make some money?" It was always that. And so Bob got me, and I'm playing Sesame Street. So a lot of that stuff that you all grew up on, that was me playing based on Sesame Street, that you all didn't even know was me. You know? she didn't know that either. And so that's how it is, you know. I mean, then in the pop world, I mean, I played with Elton John. Before the pandemic, I played with Bono for U2 and Macy Gray. The list goes on and on. I mean, probably I'm on about close to 500 records now. And, so, what else we have?
See, I told you we'd have a celebrity guest today. So now, what are you doing now, and where do you live? And what are you doing now?
I live in New Jersey, Somerset, New Jersey, and I'm a professor at Rutgers University. So I started being a professor at UConn. Then from UConn, I went to Princeton, and from Princeton, I'm at Rutgers now. So I'm doing a lot of teaching and still touring. I was just performing with David Sanborn not too long ago, and in many years I played with Jerry Allen. So before she passed. Yes.
Would you repeat your name?
Kenny Davis.
Kenny Davis.
Yes,
Okay.
Kenny Davis.
I've seen you before.
All right.
All right. So now you have you said you had a connection with Art Farmer.
Yes.
So what actually happened? We took the band went on tour,
Yes.
right? Following the film.
Yes.
So what would happen is the film would be shown in various places, and then the Art Farmer Quintet would come out and play. And as Art said, these musicians live on through us. So the band would march out, and the audience would be reassured, yes, the music continues. And Art would perform with his band, and the band is these people. And guess who's on bass? Kenny Davis.
Right.
Kenny was a long-time bassist with Art Farmer.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Right.
When I think of bass with Art Farmer, it's always Kenny Davis.
Yes.
So, Kenny, can you think of some stories of your work with Art Farmer,
Oh,
just
yes.
in general? So,
Well, one thing performing with Art, he made sure that when you come on the bandstand, you had to dress a certain way.
Yes.
There was no question about it. These days, these young guys wouldn't get it. You know. Now, it's something that another drummer that played with Art from was Carl Allen.
Yes, Carl Allen.
Now, Carl Allen, myself, and Art, because Art will always come to the bandstand totally immaculate. So we're like, okay, we used to talk about his ties. And we're like, okay, we're gonna get him, so we go out and buy these ties, we're gonna hook it up, we're gonna show him up. So Art came there and went, because he came in there with some other ties, and he said, well, you all didn't do this. So he lifted his leg up, and he had this thing on, to keep his socks from falling down. So Art was also, would get on us about being professional. Don't come to the gig 10 minutes before we hit, and so those are things that the young guys. I try to tell the young guys the same thing. What else about Art? Here's a great story. Art told me that one day he was soloing. So he's on the band soloing, and he's looking out. You are the audience, and he's looking to his left, and there's Lester Young. So Lester Young will come on the bandstand, and so instead of just walking out like this, he said Lester Young was walking like this. Because if anybody knows stories of Lester Young, he had his own way of talking, he had his own way of walking, he was just, as they say in the film, he was like a guy from outer space.
He's the one with the pork pie hat?
With the porcupine hat. That's the one with the porcupine hat. So Art said, now as he's soloing, now he's looking at him, because now he's trying to, he's looking out of his peripheral vision, and yet he's still trying to solo and looking at the, thinking about the chord changes. So Lester Young came and looked and finally whispered in Art's former ear. Art said, he said, the man from Spain made me feel it in my day. And then he walked off. So, did he ever tell you that?
No, he didn't.
Oh, so, and we were laughing. So in other words, there was a guy that was Spanish, I guess he was Spanish ethnicity, and so it was something that Lester Young didn't like about him. So in other words, since he didn't like him, he said he just feels it all in his body, because he didn't like the guy. But he had to tell Art at that moment while Art was soloing, just to let him know that, and then he just slowly walked off the stage sideways like that. I tell this story in my jazz history class, and the non-jazz majors, they would say, these musicians.
Why didn't somebody talk about what a flump it is?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I think it was a typo. No, I didn't think it was a typo.
All right.
No, it's not a typo.
No, it's not a typo. So Art played trumpet, and then he played flugelhorn.
Bigger instrument.
It's a
but
bigger instrument.
Okay.
It's a lot warmer. It's a dark sounding horn.
Mellow.
Yeah, a lot mellow. So they came up with this flumpet line. It's a trumpet and flugelhorn. They put it together. So Monette, is that?
Yeah, David Monette, David Monette and Art Farmer.
Go ahead.
David Monette and Art Farmer talked together, and Art wasn't quite happy completely with the flugelhorn sound or with the trumpet sound. So the two are blended together, and he made the flumpet for him. So there was one flumpet, and then he did a decorated horn, which is now back with the manufacturer, David Monette. It's in Portland, Oregon. And sometimes people, musicians, trumpet players are allowed to play that horn, and they've said that they sense Art in that horn still, even though Art has passed away. Okay.
Okay. Now, I remember when we were playing, I think 1991 was the first flumpy. Right?
Yes,
1991.
that's about right.
Yeah. And so he would come on the bandstand, and we were like, really? But the thing about the horn, the flumpet, was when you in the lower register, it has to sound more of like a flugelhorn, full. But when you go up to the higher register, now it has more of the trumpet sound. So that's how they combine the two. But the first flumpet was like, the intonation could have been a little better. But we were not going to tell Art. No. But, so Art heard it, and then so he made some modifications. Now, the last flumpet was a lot better. But the great thing about it, the last one, I think that's the one that's on display.
Yes, the decorated horn.
Decorated horn, it had his Addison, which is his
Twin brother.
Identical twin brother. It has an inlay of a bass.
All these little symbols are
Yes.
on the horn.
Right. And some of his idols are in the horn, little symbols and the horn has diamonds in there. Should I tell him how much it cost?
You can go ahead.
The horn was like $40,000. $40,000. Yes. So I was scared to even touch the horn. This is my new horn. It's like $40,000. And it was totally made for him. And it's nothing like it.
Right, okay.
And there's
So-
only one?
Say what?
There's one, but I think there have been a couple more made by David Manette.
Yeah.
Probably, David Manette tends to make horns and make new ones and improvements and really make them for the specific musician. too.
Right. And one of his other clients is Wynton Marsalis.
Yes, that's
So
right.
he makes, he makes horns for Wynton Marsalis. It's not the flump, but it's a horn for Wynton Marsalis.
Yeah,
I think Terrence Blanchard.
yeah, maybe Terrence.
Yeah, Terrence.
Another trumpet. Okay, so, here we are, so these great musicians are all listed here that went on the tour. Can we have the next slide? And here's the band performing at one of these events. The movie was shown.
Yes.
And then Art and the band marched out. And here you can see Kenny playing his bass right here. Okay, that's Art Farmer, Ron Blake, Kenny, and Yoran Israel, and Ted Rosenthal is just like right here. Yeah, go ahead, please.
All right. Now, because when they show the next showing, if you're going to notice the rhythm section, us, when we played, right, we didn't have ties. Notice that? But Ron Blake, who was also, he was one of the front hornmen with Art, so he's like, look, man, I can't come on the bandstand and not have a tie playing alongside Art Farmer. He's in front. So he made sure that he was going to wear a tie. So we were a little bit more relaxed at that point.
Next.
So here, I can't remember his name.
Okay, this is Steve Shyman. So Steve Shyman is now director of Hilton Head Symphony Orchestra's Education and Community Engagement Activity and the Hilton Head International Piano Competition. What is amazing about him is he's the one that had the idea about taking the film and having the band follow the film. So he was with IMG Artists at that time, and he saw the film at the National Arts League Club in New York City and got the idea to show the film and then follow it with a live jazz performance. He discussed it with Gene Bach, and then Art Farmer was suggested as the jazz musician to participate with his band. So that's how it all happened. Okay, so here we go. So you're in Israel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oops. Okay, that's your board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you're in Israel, the drummer. Okay, Ted Rosenthal, piano, and guess who's here?
Young guy.
All right, but you can still know him, he still looks the same because he works out, right? You're still working out? All right, okay. Steve Shyman and Ron Blake, who played tenor saxophone, was probably Art's favorite tenor saxophonist after Clifford Jordan passed away.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yes,
Right?
Clifford Jordan, yes.
yeah, okay.
Yes.
Because you worked with Clifford Jordan
Yes,
too.
yes.
You remember him well. All right, so the tour started in 1998, and it went to these different places. First of all, I won't read them, okay. Do you remember, do you have any stories you wanted to say about any of these?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
All right, so back in these days, as a bass player, I had this thing called a bass coffin.
A what?
Bass coffin. Remember the bass coffin?
Oh, the bass coffin.
The bass
Okay.
coffin.
Oops, I
So
thought
it looks
bass
like a coffin. It looks like a coffin, and I will put my acoustic bass in there and wrap it up, and that's how we travel. You
Right.
know, and I will always watch. I would just stay around and watch them playing how they just would take the bass off and just
Oh dear.
just put it, and they weren't really gentle, but take my bass off the plane and putting it in what it's supposed to go to. And, so I will always complain about that. Yes, and, so we would travel through all these, events, and, they would play the film, and then we would play after the film.
Right.
So the thing about it, Art picked, appropriate music that we had to play, because of the film. So I guess he did the horror silver things,
Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. And we did,
Moon rays.
Moon Rays,
Moon
yes,
Rays,
thank you,
right.
Moon Rays,
Moon Rays.
and, dum, 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 was that a?
Oh, yeah.
Blue Monk.
Blue Month, and that
Yes.
was your specialty.
Right,
because
right, right.
You do a solo with our.
Right, yes, we did do it.
You do
We
it.
do it with
It's
it.
fantastic.
Yes, yes. So,
Do you remember when Mary McPartland performed in San
yes,
Francisco?
yes,
Was
yes.
it, how did that go? Was that before, with you guys, or?
Well, I think it was before, but we came in after her.
So years ago, in New York City, the Duke Ellington Society had a concert where Art Farmer's quartet played and also Mary McPartland's trio played. So Marion played first and then Art played after that with his group. So, yeah. Oh, wait, can you go back one?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Horace Silver.
Right, was in the audience, yes.
So remember Horace Silver was in the film?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then went on to Norfolk, Virginia, so it was quite a wide, I mean, Colorado, California, then Virginia. All right, so then, in celebration of, Black History Month, they did it again in 1999, and here are the towns where they went.
Yes.
Any thoughts on that?
Oh, really?
Yes, remember when you were down at Glassboro College?
Well, going into the small cities like Flint, Michigan, some of the smaller venues, sometimes they didn't have the equipment that wasn't the best, and we would complain to Art, they don't have this bass out.
The acoustics.
And it's like, well, you gotta figure out how to make it work. And, so that's what we did. We figured out how to make it work and, get the best sound you can get from the horn. I mean, from your instrument, from wherever it is. So,
Did you play at the County College of Morris when you played in Randolph? Do you remember? I used to live up there.
okay. Did you play at County College?
You played it at college, right?
They had a great orchestra.
Glassboro, I think it was Glassboro Community College.
No, Randolph, it was County College of Morris. If they were Randolph.
Maybe that's the wrong city then. Anyway, okay.
And another thing that I must say about this particular group is that we really like each other.
Yes, that's true.
We went to dinner, we hung out, and we really enjoyed playing with each other. And when I first got into the band with Art, he would say, hey man, hey Kenny, your notes are too short. Your notes are too short. You gotta lengthen the notes. You know, so in other words, for a bass player, I was playing ding, 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 and he wanted ding, 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 ding. Cause he said, hey man, it has to fill out the band, you know, and that was years ago. That was like 40 years ago, 30 something years ago, and that from that moment on, and that's way I play.
That's true.
You might mention that the band reunited a couple of years ago.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, we reunited at college, William Patterson College.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we all are older now, you know, we talk to, you know, stories, and, you know, a lot of us, we had hair, then, you know. And
But you still.
I still have a little hair, you know.
You still look the same.
And, so we actually played those songs, cause it's in the archives, right?
Right.
It's in the archives.
There's a Living Jazz Archives, Art Farmers archives are up at William Patterson University in the Living Jazz Archives. So music is there, so the students that go to that school can take a look at the music and study it and then play it as well.
Yes.
And Jeremy Pell took our.
Yes.
Jeremy Pell played arts
Jeremy Pell.
part, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was fun.
It was fun.
Yes, it was fun.
Ideal.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so, you wanna, let's see the next slide. Okay, so what is this? This is the printed program. Okay, so this is from Pepperdine University. So every place, they would produce basically all the same information, they just sent it around and then, yeah, okay. So each place got the same information. Go ahead and put the next one up. And you could learn about the musicians, you'd learn about the film, and, yeah, all the information is right there. And the documentary, and then about our farmer. And, yeah, it was, and then about Gene Bach and Matthew Seig and Susan Peel. So, that was basically it. Next. Okay, so there's the band. Now, go to the next slide. Now we want to talk to you about our upcoming events, okay? And, now you, and just hold on. Okay. And, so the next event is a ticketed event. It is at the parlor at Haley's, which is, if you know where Haley's Pub is in Metuchen on Main Street. Well, you go around to the back, the parallel street station place, and there's an entrance there, and it's called the parlor. And so it has like a speakeasy atmosphere, and we're going to have a Valentine's Day special there, and the Anderson Brothers Quartet will perform. They'll bring a guitarist and a bass player. And then you need to use the QR code or the bit.ly code to sign up, and $25 ticket in advance, and then it's a $20 food and drink minimum. We want everybody to show up, you know, it's not couples, it's everybody. Bring your loved ones, okay, it's for everybody, okay? So please come and participate. Now, if, and we have flyers for this, and you can pick them up as you leave today. Now, we're so happy to tell you about our next event, which will be right here in this room on March 16th, when you can hear Kenny.
It's March 12th.
March 12th, I probably wrote, it was midnight when I was doing that last night, so March 12th, okay, March 12th. I can look at my calendar, but I'm sure that's right. So I probably wrote the wrong thing down, okay, so I can, yeah. So assume it's March 12th, because that's what I told you, right? It's a Sunday, right?
Yes, it's March 12th.
All right, so, and that's free, and in this room, and Kenny is bringing his own band here, Eddie Allen, and Lynne, and Jared. Well, so why don't you talk about it?
All right, so, and I'm going to play one of the songs I played with our farmer. Yes. So, Eddie Allen's a well-known trumpet player. He played with many people. And then Luciano Minetti and Jared Walsler, those are the younger guys, you know. So you always keep the younger guys in the band because they sort of they push you know. And as I've gotten older, now I understand with Art Farmer, he kept the younger guys with us because we played a certain way. We had a certain energy, you know, as opposed to playing with someone his age, which was great. But somehow we were experimenting, and then it got to the point he said, "Okay, man, just play what you feel." Then so now we were starting to check out harmonies, and we were playing different things in the harmonies. And, so that's what these guys, the younger guys, they have like they push you a certain way. So we're gonna play original music. I'm gonna play original music. I'm gonna play some standards, and you know, it's just gonna have it's gonna be a fun event, and I would love for you all to come out and support us.
Right, and it is March 12th, and it's right on this sheet that I gave you, okay?
Yes.
So that is correct. I'm sorry about the mistake. It was late last night.
So you were up late?
I was up late.
So you're a musician.
You know I am, right? I'm not a musician, no, we don't want to. Right, so, thank you so much for being here.
And you know, as I was looking at the film, now I watched the film before I came here.
Good.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe like 4 or 5 days ago, just to make sure.
Right.
But I was blessed to hang out with Dizzy Gillespie. I had lunch with Dizzy one time we were at a festival, and I went to Mr. Dizzy Gillespie, and I said, "Hello, Mr. Gillespie, I'm King Davis." Okay, hello, young man. And then I said, "Well, I played with so and so." So I mentioned some of the guys that I played with who they were in his band. They said, "Oh, okay, come on down, sit down." You know, so, and then from that, he went to actually talk to me about music. You know, so he told me about how Charlie Parker and him, they thought of a certain way as far as playing music. Like, how many are musicians in here? Okay, so I'm gonna say some music. Okay, like in academia, they came like say they had a half diminished chord, it goes to a G7, and then but he said Charlie Parker, they didn't think of it as a D half diminished. They thought of it as an F6, F minus 6. So and then it went from the G7. So instead of going this way, a D minus 7 to G7, or D minus 7 to G7, going to this chord, they were thinking it was more round, it was this way. So they were saying, you know, people think of bebop as all this stuff, but they said, no, they were thinking of head, you know. So, now with my students there, since I played with Dizzy Gillespie's sidemen, so I had to tell them, you know, the real triplet of bebop, according to Dizzy, who created it, is Ugladi. No, it's Uliaku, that's what he said, Uliaku. Yeah, Uliaku. He said, now, to get the young guys to play the real triplet of bebop, just have them say Uliaku. Like, really? And he said, yeah, think about it. If anybody know the melody to Donna Lee, is Uliaku, because now what happened with the music, with the younger generation, and it's Uliaku, so it's a shape. Yeah, it's round. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's round. But some of them, they just go, that ain't that. No, it's not it. It's round. So, and for me playing with Sonny Rollins, and I was blessed to play with Art Farmer and Benny Golson. Art Farmer brought me in to play with the Art Farmer and Benny Golson Quartet. Right. And Art Blakey wanted me to play in his band, but I couldn't do it. And for various reasons. I was playing with Roberta Flack at the time. I didn't want to give that up. I was making this money.
Right.
And I had college funds to contribute to this whole. But I was blessed to personally know a few of those guys that were there, and you know, it's nothing like it.
It's really amazing. Thank you so much. So, did you, this is the first time we showed a jazz documentary, and this is something, you know, that I talked about at our last live jazz event that we had here, and I said, okay, well, let's try it. So what do you think? Okay, great. Please sign up on our mailing list and provide your email address. And you can pick up flyers for the next event for Valentine's Day. They'll be downstairs, and Bob and Grace will have them. We will soon make up a flyer for Kenny's gig, and then you'll be able to have that as well. So thank you so much for coming, and I want to thank EK, I want to thank Bob Dyken, I want to thank Grace, and I want to thank Noel for their help today, and I want to thank all of you for taking the time to come today, and have a safe trip home, and we'll see you at the next event. Tell your friends, please, so we get more people.